Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa-dhृतविग्रहं Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Sirsha Namah. Namaste everyone. Welcome to our study of the Bhagavad Gita. And somebody has got the mic on, if you can please mute that. We are studying Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12, the path of devotion. In Kali Yuga, Sri Ramakrishna said this particular path is the easiest compared to the others, the path of devotion. We all know how to love our mother, father, family members. How do we direct that emotion to the divine? God is the ultimate mother and father in this whole universe. We are his children. And how do we link ourselves and feel his protection, love, care? Ultimately, we belong to him. And the whole world belongs to him. And all those whom we call ours are really his. With that idea, we deal with this world. So we have gone through these last two verses, which sort of started talking about the disciplines that we need to practice in our everyday life. There's so many of them. I think 40 such qualities are listed there. But they all are uh, prescribed to direct our minds to the divine and to detach our minds from the world. How we can live peacefully, not being disturbed by the world, being able to give that mind to the divine and build a continuous capacity of the mind to constantly dwell on the divine. Ultimately, the preferred goal is that at the last moment when we depart from this body, our mind is focused inwards and we are remembering the divine, repeating the mantra. That comes through abhyasa, and these disciplines help us slowly to train our mind for that purpose. So we talked about these two disciplines. These last two verses were sort of discussing some of this. Let's quickly revise this and then we'll go to the next verse today. Advesta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha shami. He who is not hateful towards any creature, does not hate anyone. Why? We're all waves in the same ocean. All the waves belong to God. How can we, love him as the ocean and hate him as the wave type of thing, that type of feeling? Like in a family, all children are children of the same parents, and therefore you love them because they're siblings. Likewise, we are all children of the divine, and the whole world is our own in that way. Advesta sarva bhutanam, all beings. Maitra, being friendly. Karuna, full of compassion, because you'll find in this world some people would be in grief, in misery, and our attitude towards them should be of compassion. And if we can do something to alleviate their suffering, that's all the better. That pleases the Lord more than offering some fruits and flowers to him directly. Swami Vivekananda says that should be the attitude. Going out and saving the devotees or the children of God pleases God even more than just offering things to him. Nirmamo nirahankara. This is very, very important. This I and my sense comes with respect to this our own physical body or things. This is mine, that is mine type of thing. My house, family, money, and all those things. Very difficult to get rid of. I and mine. This is what Maya is. Ami Amar. Sri Ramakrishna would say, Ami Amar, this is what is Maya. Ahankara comes that egotism. I am rich, I am poor, I am smart, I am this, I am that. Means you are getting stuck to this in human individuality, which itself is a limitation, a prison house compared to the infinite being that we really are. We are the infinite ocean. Why should be stuck with one little wave? That type of thinking should be there. Nirmamo nirahankara sama dukkha sukha shami. Sama means same, always maintaining an equanimity, because misery and happiness will come like the pendulum that swings. This world is the world of duality. Pairs of opposites will be there: success, failure, uh, gain and loss, health and disease, birth and death. So you can't do much about that. This is the way the world is constituted. And if we swing with that, then we are at the mercy of this world. How do we maintain that balance? While the world around is whirling rapidly, we don't lose our focus. And that happens when we can anchor ourselves or our identity with the spiritual being that we really are. I'm the child of the divine. I'm the servant of God. I'm a spiritual being. That is my true identity. Nothing to do really with the body or gender or color or race or nationality. These are transitory, temporary. They don't last beyond death. That type of thinking, alertness all the time should be there, because we will react with the world depending on how we perceive the world. If we perceive the world uh, as a very transitory, temporary thing, not to make a big deal about, while the real reality is that wonderful, glorious Atman that I am, eternal and immortal. The more I think about that, the greater I feel, better I feel about myself. That is my real identity. And so that is the path of devotion. We are children of the divine. Then santusta satatam. Satatam means always santusta. Be content. Content with the things of the world, rather, but discontent with your spiritual progress. Like Sri Ramakrishna would, at the end of the day, call out, "Oh, mother, another day has gone and I have not had your vision." I might not do that every day, but at least once in a month or a year, you'll say, "Another year has gone and I have not made much progress." If we remind ourselves, monitor our progress, and find that we are not making much effort, then that leads to making a more effort, serious effort on the real purpose of our coming in this world. So santusta satatam. Be happy with whatever is necessary. We require some food, basic things, comforts of the body's general health and all that. Beyond that, we don't need much of the world. Yatatma, dida nischaya. Be in control of the senses. The senses constantly drag the mind out, and they distract yourself. And so the mind goes out and gets engaged with the world, and that's how it gets caught. So yatatma means be alert. Give your mind as much as necessary to the world, not more than that. Either the mind goes out to the external world or it goes to the internal divine. So which way we are going to direct a little bit of control and alertness with there. Dridha nischaya, one who has got firm conviction. About what? About who we really are, that we are a spiritual being. If that conviction is not very strong, then it will come down, mind will come down and to the body level, and again we begin to behave like human beings, animals, almost sometimes eating, drinking, procreating, and all that's where. But uh, intellectually we might understand and say, "Oh, we are spiritual beings, we are the Atman." But that firmness of conviction is not there. How do you test how strong your conviction is? Well, you see, where are you living? And it's a very interesting question. So if I ask you, where do you live? You say, "I live in that house or in this particular city or country." "Oh, I live in this body." That means where is your sense of identity? Is I am this. So if I am living in this body, shariram griham. Griha means house, sharir means the body. So in the scriptures it is said, shariram griham. The body is the house. But one can live in the mind level, where one is identified with thoughts, ideas. This is what defines me. Like when somebody says, "I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist," they're identifying themselves with the training or the mind, the knowledge that is there. But the ultimate thing is, I am a spiritual being. I'm a child of the divine. That is my spiritual identity. So, how we raise our mind to this higher level, at least during meditation, we try to build that relationship with the divine. So, I have shared with you all two meditation guided meditation. One is the very simple one that goes for 6 minutes, and there is a more detailed one that goes for 13 minutes or something. And the reason why I put that, and the difference between the two, is that in the second one, the longer version of it, I try to guide you after you have prayed for everyone, for the welfare of everyone, to say, okay, how am I constituted? We are all familiar with our identity as a human being, physical body, and but this body is like the third layer that covers the onion, so to say, the gross body. Behind that, subtler than that, finer than that, which is the cause of the gross one, is the mental body, the subtle body, which perseveres even when the physical body dies, so to say. And beyond that is the cause of it, which is called the causal body. And beyond that is that infinite ocean of consciousness. So before we jump into the repetition of the mantra and on the focusing on the form of the divine in our heart, it's good to reinforce this framework that my identity, which is the whole day was sort of anchored in the physical level, really during this period of meditation, I'm going to try to merge it back into its course and visualize that the physical body is only a gross form, like ice is a gross form of water. Water is also a manifested form of water vapor. So behind the gross is the subtle body, behind the subtle is the causal body, and then everything merges into the infinite ocean of consciousness. Then we'll linger there, stay there, and try to visualize that light and light in all directions. What type of light? A light that is pure, is perfect, is beautiful, is supremely peaceful, that is omniscient, all knowing, omnipresent, all everywhere, full of bliss, full of purity, goodness, and all those qualities that we hear all the time. We try to remind ourselves, this is me in my infinite measure, and be there, at least intellectually in your imagination, visualization. We are, for the time being, anchored or trying to reside in that idea of it. But that's not an actual experience right now. So then you visualize that out of that ocean of consciousness, the physical, this causal body forms, which is similar to your body. Then the mental body forms, which is full of spiritual ideas, sublime, uplifting, pure, elevated, and your physical body appears, but this time it's an absolutely pure body. So in that center of heart, then you visualize the lotus, and in that lotus is that light, that it is an infinite ocean of light now, which has now taken the form of your chosen ideal. So in this process, we have affirmed two things, that there's a common background of your Ishtadevata, if it's Ram Krishna, Rama Krishna, whoever, or and yourself, we are one in that ocean of consciousness. And so in that ocean of consciousness, which is Brahman, the Jivatma and Paramatma are one. But since I have come down in this and got caught in this cycle of samsara, being embodied again and again and again, the divine has been very, very compassionate that it also has taken this form and appeared in the midst of us, which is the avatar. And he is there to help us and lift us out of this cycle of rebirths. And therefore, we take his help, take the name of his form and his mantra, pray to him with great devotion and concentration, with the prayer that you please lift my mind, purify it, and lift my mind so that I can revert back to my pure state, which is that infinite Atman, one with Paramatman. So that is the type of thinking there. During the day, one can, it doesn't have to be only done during the time of meditation. One can sit down just now and say, okay, let me look at how I am looking at the world and looking at myself. Let me get my perspective right. And incorporate the spiritual dimension. The more we do with great focus and concentration and visualization, internal visualization. In a spiritual life, visualization is more powerful than imagination. So the more you go through that process again and again and again, and those ideas become embedded in your thought process, you'll find that during meditation, you'd be able to have a wonderful spiritual framework of how you look at yourself. This is me as a spiritual being. While I might be identified with this physical body, which is growing old and one day it will drop off, there's a mental body, and I am filling that with spiritual ideas and thoughts through my devotion and everything and study and all that. But at the end of the day, this is only temporary. All the bodies appear and disappear. I am that ocean, one with God, and I want to revert to that higher state. This human existence does not do justice to the real me. I am a spiritual being and I want to experience myself in all its glory. So, in this way, we can prepare ourselves to the for the hour of meditation. In the daytime, if you spend little bit of contemplation like this, then you'll find that when you sit down for your time at the meditation, your mind is eager to it. Okay, now I'm going to do a little serious diving into myself. I'm looking forward to that hour and would do it with great focus. So that's a little bit of digression to include this meditation in there. So, santusta satatam yogi yatatma nishchaya may arpit manobuddhi. So, when I'm saying what you call merge your mind and buddhi into me, may arpit manobuddhi. Okay, in the description that I just told, that's what we're trying to do. So I merged my body into the mind and mind into buddhi and buddhi and everything into that pure consciousness. Constantly trying to retrace the original source of who I am. That ultimately I am a pure spiritual being and everything has come from there by divine will. Now it should go back into this. And if one does that, Yomad Bhakta Same Priya, such a devotee is very dear to me. So the divine consciousness, which is the ocean of consciousness, Brahman, which incarnates as incarnations, says that all these waves who are trying to understand or resolve themselves to me or understand that they all I am the source to them and they want to return to me, they are very dear to me because of their uh, desire to be reunited with the Supreme Being. So, that being so, let us today look at these two other verses today. Yasmat na udvijate loka, lokan no udvijate chaya, harsha amarsha bhayodvego, mukta sacha ya sacha me priya. So this is very, very practical. How should we live in this world, so to say? Owing to whom the world is not disturbed. Okay, that means you should not be a pain in the neck for anyone, basically, in the simple language. One should not cause any trouble to others. You're nice. Don't say anything that hurts anyone. Don't do anything that hurts anyone or causes any disturbance. And you'll find that then the world also does not disturb you also. So the first one is being very, very alert that I should not do anything that will bring any form of misery to anyone. Be very, very careful in that way. Alert. One can do that through one's actions. One can do that through speech. Also, you might say something that's not so nice and it might hurt somebody. Can you avoid doing that? Because every karma has it's a boomerang, it comes back to you. And sometimes it comes back and you do not know and say, oh, why did that happen to me? No, I did that. Now it's payback time, so to say. So spiritual seeker is very, very alert. Okay, he does not disturb the world unnecessarily, even if it's necessary not to disturb. You interact with them, but be a source of joy to others, not a source of trouble to others. And on the other hand, lokanna udvijate chaya. That means the world should not be able to disturb you also. So this is also very important because if one has got a very thin skin, very irritable, anything and everything, a little bit somebody says, because extremely sensitive about everything, then the world will just knock you around. People don't really care what they say, what happens around. They just do it casually. But if it affects and upsets people so much, that upset mind is not really conducive for spiritual development. It will constantly be dragged out by this world. So a little bit of thick skin is necessary regarding the world. Sri Ramakrishna would tell in a simple language, he will say in Bengali, lok na pok. Okay, poka means in Bengali all these insects. That means don't make a big deal about people. Do not be just what you call take everything very seriously. Who cares about it? Be indifferent to most of the thing. Have a thick skin. Just don't be bothered about that type of thing. So otherwise, if we are very sensitive, then oh my God, then it becomes very very painful living in this world because everything will then tend to upset you. So how do we do that? You just can't say, I don't want to be very sensitive. It's the more we are integrated within ourselves, the less the world is going to toss us around. So how do we explain this? So we said that at the core of our being, we are a spiritual being. That idea and being established in that is the highest ideal. That is what Sri Krishna is teaching Arjuna. Go and fight, but don't be worried about the outcomes and success or failure or this and that. Fight by after being established in that idea of your own spiritual identity, which is the ideal idea of sthita prajna. That means your understanding of yourself should be established in your spiritual identity. I'm the eternal and immortal being. Okay, type of thing. So, but on that Atman is now this ego comes. And that is then encapsulated with this idea that our mind, our thoughts and ideas and all those things, my nationality and everything is there. Then becomes another layer of my identification with this body, all this resume and CV and biodata and everything that we say this defines as our upadhis in Sanskrit language. Means they are not me, they are coverings. Okay. And then that is bad enough. We are caught in this prison house of this body mind complex. But then it's made worse when the same mind goes outside and begins to grab and other things and say they are mine. So this I and mine, Ami, Amar, is this prison house, Maya. And the more the mind, the further the mind is away from that Atman nature and embedded in the physical body or the external body or other bodies that are there or things, the more we will be subject or the more we will be at the risk of losing our balance because those things, when they change around, will begin to disturb us because our identification is there. So you'll find it doesn't take much time to understand that. And the more we are integrated in our spiritual dimension, then we say, the world is like that. It comes and goes. Today it's there, tomorrow it's not. Then why should I make a big deal about me? All that. What is most important is this wonderful being that I am. Uh, and only the more you think about that glory of the Atman, how wonderful I am, and yet that's what the scriptures are saying. Hasn't been my experience, but I would like to pay more attention and put more effort to that, and not make a big deal about the external world. In this way, we begin to turn the needle or turn the extroverted mind towards the Atman introverted. So, so whatever is happening around the world, I don't get engaged with that very seriously. What's happening around me or around the world in the news, TV, everything. Why do I need to all those things? And if things are happening around there, out there, or around the country, or around the family, and this and that, they should not rock me around my boat too much. I just maintain a sense of calmness, undisturbed, and we'll be able to do that if we are integrated with it. So this is the test. Sometimes people ask, how do I know that I'm making some good spiritual progress after my meditation in spiritual sadhana? Here are the things to see, how much we are able to practice these things. Previously, I was a very touchy, sensitive person, and everyone would be able to throw me off balance. And I used to blame them that they're not nice people. They said this to me and all that. But now I understand I can't change the world, but I can make myself strong, resilient, okay, that the world should not be able to rock my boat, my mind. And now I am more balanced. And if I get a little disturbed, I'm able to recover my balance quickly. That is a sign that we are beginning to make some progress in there. So when that happens, what is the thing? Okay, you have to be free from these four things. That's the goal. What are the four things? Harsha, Amarsha, Bhaya, Udvega. Mukta means I am free from them. Such a devotee who practices this gradually, step by step, makes an effort to keep the mind inwards and not let the mind get disturbed by this external world. In that calm mind, the divine is able to manifest itself, reveal itself, express itself. What are these? Harsha. Harsha is joy. So it says you should not be very happy also. That means don't be very elated when you get something and miserable on the other side. Maintain that balance where, what you call, because if you go, the harsh and joy and misery are like two ends of a pendulum. If you go to one side, well, the other one will come. You can't just have one side of it. You can't have a coin with a head and no tail to it. So, what we want to go is beyond happiness and misery to that supreme peace. That is the one. And what's that? It's like a pendulum that's hanging there and is swinging left and right. And if you are sitting on that bob, like imagine one is an ant, then one is subject to the swing of the pendulum. But if the pendulum says, oh, this is very dizzy, I don't like it here, then begins to crawl up the string and goes and reaches. The further it goes up, the less the swing it will feel. The world still swings, but the person feels less of it less and less as it goes up. And ultimately, when it reaches the top part where the string is tied, then it's absolutely still, peaceful, where the world is still swinging out there. That particular point, that center, is in the spiritual dimension of our being. And so, through meditation and japa, we try to access that. And so, what's the proof? How do you measure how good your meditation is? Well, do you really get upset when things don't go your way? Or do you get really overjoyed and excited when things turn out your way? Okay, both things don't disturb you very much. You maintain a balance and calmness in the midst of both. That is a sign that we are growing spiritually. Samatvam yoga muchate. In Bhagavad Gita, in earlier chapter, Sri Krishna says, maintaining that equanimity, balance, poise, rhythm of the mind, that is yoga. Okay, so harsha, marsha, bhaya, fear. Okay, what is the cause of fear? What causes fear? Loss. When we have something and the uh, the fear that if it will be taken away from me, that creates fear. In Bhartri Haris Vairagya Shatakam, he comes, tells so many things that can be a cause of misery or fear, like if health is good and something can take it away, like a COVID virus, then there's fear. If wealth is there, you might lose it due to recession or what do you call economy or something that happens in there. There's fear of losing wealth, there's fear of losing health, there is fear of losing name and fame and all those type of things. So in Bharti Hari, Rishi says, Sarvam Vastu Bhayanvitam Bhuindranam Vairagyam Eva Abhayam. Everything that we have in this world is fraught with fear because everything will change. Nothing is permanent. So you can have it for a while, you can keep it, but ultimately it will be taken away from you. So Sarvam Vastu Bhayanvitam Bhui Niranam. What is the way to fearlessness? Vairagyam Eva Abhayam. So dispassion. Renunciation leads to fearlessness. If you can renounce mentally your attachment to things, immediately fear also lets go of you. That's why this ideal of renunciation is practiced. Be in the world, but not be attached to anything, not even the body, not anything the world can give. I don't want to be a slave to the world. I will live in this world as a master, and a master is not going to be affected by anything. That type of idea. So fear, be free from fear. And that's one way about the world. But the real fearlessness comes when we have identified ourselves with that Atman. What is that Atman? It is eternal and immortal. Even death cannot touch me. Such imagine a state of being. How wonderful. Whole universe can be reduced to dust. All the 7 billion people can disappear, and everything, all the solar system, galaxy, everything disappears. Yet nothing is able to touch the glory of the being that I am. I'm still that infinite, nameless, formless, pure being. So there's no misery in me. I'm infinitely blissful. There's no ignorance in me. I'm infinitely full of knowledge. I'm of the nature of Param Shanti, supreme peace. Everything that is beautiful in this world is only a reflection of my beauty. And not the impurities that we see that in things of manifestation, the body and the mind, none of that can even touch the purity of the Atman. That is my true nature. So a spiritual seeker tries to make this idea of the Atman and Mukti, self-realization, a very powerful ideal. And the more one dwells on that, at some point, the mind will begin to become interested in that, attracted to that. It says, if that is the being, the wonderful being that I am, what am I doing in this world, attracted by all these little tidbit things, making a big deal out of nothing, getting upset about trivial things? Even if I have them, the world is going to take them away anyway, sooner or later. It does not do justice to me. I know, like Arjuna, see, this is how a scolding is given. When Arjuna is making all these excuses of fighting and losing and running away and this and that, Sri Krishna gives him a nice scolding. Parents can learn how to scold the children in this way also. What does he say? Nai etat tvai upapadhyate. This behavior does not befit you. You're a great warrior, great hero. People respect you. You are the general. And now you are shaking and shivering and wanting to run away. What is this nonsense? It does not befit you. That means something more is expected out of you, much higher. Rise up to that expectation. And so we use that type of thinking. If I am this wonderful spiritual being, eternal, immortal, of all these wonderful qualities, then this human behavior, being subject to all these little temptations and swings and whatever I say, weaknesses, they do not befit me. I am that infinite being, always trying to assert the spiritual nature. And the more we do that, you'll find that fear will go away and all these weaknesses begin to go away because we are asserting our spiritual nature. Even without the realization, just to think that in old age will come, disease will come, this body is going to go. And if you are lying in the bed and you have thought about this idea again and again and again, and that it has become so strong, you say, it doesn't matter, the body is going to go. After all, it's a prison house anyway, full of misery, full of suffering. And what's inside there, inside blood, flesh, and all those things there, I do not know why I'm so much attached to it. Drop this, get out and be that eternal being. See, in that way, spiritual knowledge helps us even face death. So, harsha, amarsha. Amarsha means impatience. Okay. People want to do things faster than things happen. In this manifested world, things happen in their own natural pace. And if you expedite it or rush through it, try to become impatient about an outcome, then it's not going to change or make something happen faster. It's just agitates the mind a bit more, and that mind that should be given to make it successful uh, gets compromised there, so to say. So understand that things happen in this world according to what's karma, according to the divine will, in their own sweet time. In the big equation of whatever I want, there are many variables. For example, if you're running a business, and you are not totally responsible for the success of it. There are so many factors, your staff, people, the environment that is out there, economic situation, anything can change and toss everything out of balance. We just have come out of a COVID where the whole world was sort of put into a stagnation. No one ever imagined it could happen. So, and we're all absolutely helpless, locked in there, shaking and shivering inside our own houses, blaming some virus that can come out. Like a Western movie, some gunman is in the street and you are all hiding that he might, if you come out, he might shoot us. Like that, everyone is hiding inside the house, like that. See, so this type of situation is not desirable. You know, so how do we free ourselves? This is the nature of the world here. Something or the other will come, no matter how much we struggle to avoid death, it will come sooner or later. And with that comes, puts an end to everything. Let us sort of be strong enough to even conquer death. And how is that to be done? By realizing that in immortal being that we are. So the scriptures will constantly remind us. What are the scriptures? These are the realizations of saints and sages who, out of their own experiences, are sharing that knowledge and the means to realize that. And with that, by studying that seriously, contemplating, at least a desire should happen, arise in the mind that if that is my wonderful nature, I'm a spiritual being, then I want to have that experience in this life itself. And I'm going to commit my time and effort to it. So, this type of thinking, morning and evening, before you sit in for meditation, or after you sit for meditation, or before you go to sleep, lying in your bed, what is your last thought? At least think about these things and let those ideas work deeply in your subconscious mind. Later on, you'll find that if previous samskaras, spiritual samskaras from previous lifetimes are there, they all get excited because they were sitting down there waiting for somebody to call them up, and they all rally forth and give you that urge. Next morning, you're up and doing your meditation, japa, and study, and all those things, and sort of you psych yourself up, like you say. Yeah. So Harsha, Marsha, Bhaya, Dvego, Udvega. So Harsha, joy, impatience, Amarsha, Bhaya, fear. Udvega is anxiety. Okay, distress. These are the things to be avoided as a spiritual discipline. So, are you a devotee? That doesn't mean that you just light a lamp and offer some fruits and incense stick in the shrine. It means practicing all those things. And and if you practice them, then what happens? Yomad Bhakta Samay Priya. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Like I said, we say God is dear to us, but it's even more wonderful if God is saying, you're dear to me. How do we endear ourselves to Him? It's by practicing these as much as possible in whichever situation is there. At least we know this is the ideal. Now and then we should reflect. Or in such a situation, I was very, very excited. Maybe that's not very good. I shouldn't have been so. I was very impatient there. And the fear came. Why should I fear? And all this anxiety and all those things come. That is not good. That does not befit me. I am the pure Atman. I have this divine being as my caretaker, friend, philosopher, mother, father, who is there to protect me in all situations. Why should I have this uh, fear or anxiety or this type of things? I leave everything to Him. He resides in my heart. He pulls the strings. Everything happens. The success and failure belongs to Him. Sri Ram Krishna Arpamastu. Okay, and that's I'm going to drop that there, and that's the end of it. No more carrying that load with me when I go to sleep and waking up in that idea or worry and all that type of thing. Letting go. Okay. Okay, how far we do? 20 minutes are there. Anapeksha suchir daksha udasino gatavyatha sarvarambha parityagi yomad bhakta samay priya. So you see, all these verses come up with this yomad bhakta samay priya. Such a devotee is very dear to me. And we want to endear ourselves to God. And so therefore we are going to practice these things. Anapeksha. He who has no desires with regard to convertible things like the body, mind, objects. Okay, that means no material desires or desires of this world. Our mind goes after things because in ignorance we think they are valuable, attractive, and you want to have them. And there's a feeling of want inside, a sense of incompleteness, and you think if I get that, that will make me happy. And so it could be something external, it could be a cat, a pet, a car, or house, or money, or name, or fame, and all those type of things, as if that is my identity. And now people are saying I'm rich and this and this, and that makes me happy. Well, you get it, and it's going to be taken away from you very quickly also. So it's temporary. When you have realized that they are ultimately worthless compared to the ultimate being that we are, then we will redirect those desires not to the external things, but to the spiritual being that we are. In everything, we have to try to direct that mind to the internal spiritual dimension. That is the most wonderful aspect of our being. Anapeksha, who has no desires with regard to convertible things. So naturally, the mind will go, I'd like to have this, I like to have that. Sometimes people, when they're feeling miserable or this and that, they go on a shopping spree, buy all so many things, thinking that if I have these things, then I will feel happy. I'll give myself a treat, so to say, as they say. So they go and buy some dress or whatever is there, which they don't really need, but you have that, and after some time you feel, so what, the mind is still there. You spend so much, well, good money out there for nothing. So if you can discriminate and understand the nature of all these external things, then you can save yourself all that trouble there. So anapeksha, have no desires, have spiritual desires, desire for knowledge, desire for spiritual company, desire for self-realization. Those are good things. And be desireless regarding outside things. Such is this this such is this bondage with desires that Holy Mother says that even if one had a desire for Rasagulla, it can bring your mind and make you be born again into this world. Just think about it. And people have a whole load of desires about this world. How do we free ourselves like that? So, anapeksha, suchi, daksha. Suchi is purity. Saucham, purity of internal and external purity. That means purity in thought, in word, in deed. Purity of body, in speech, and mind. Always be very, very alert that just like, physical dirt we understand, we don't want to get ourselves muddy by rolling in the earth. And if we get a little dirt in our hands and feet, immediately we wash them. Likewise, one has to be very, very alert about the purity of the mind, that impure ideas and thoughts should not be given a place, and the body mind should not like to go out in that direction. Daksha, who is dexterous. Whatever we do with great efficiency. And that means one is able to promptly understand in the right way the duties that present themselves. When that is not there, then we mistake the right for the wrong, or wrong for the right. They make the wrong decision, travel in the wrong direction, and get caught and suffer. So, dexterity doesn't mean dexterous in the sense that you are able to ambidextrous, they say you are able to use the left hand and right hand equally well in physical action. It's about the mental side of things also, to be able to discern and understand in the right way what is to be done and what is not to be done. That means being able to make decisions. So in life, you'll find that it's like going along the road and suddenly a fork will come. Do I go to the right? Do I go to left? There are options come. And different people make different decisions. Some people go towards the world way, thinking that that's going to lead them to happiness, success, and all those things. Others, out of previous experience, having traveled that path many times, I said, no, 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 I'm not going to go that way. I know where it leads. It might look very interesting, but it's not worth it. I'm going to go this path. It looks steeper, it looks more difficult, but that is where real joy is there. In the Bhagavad, in the Bible, Christ says in the Sermon on the Mount, right towards the end, he says, straight is the path and narrow is the way to the Supreme Being, to peace. This winding, difficult shortcuts and all those things just get us a bit more mixed up in this world. And who knows, once you get in that path, you might lose the whole opportunity of one lifetime, because once you that whirlpool of the world sucks you in, then we are at its mercy. So be alert not to step into that direction. And the only way to prevent is that vigilance, alertness of mind, being able to make a decision based, a spiritual decision. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the Kathopanishad, Yamaraj is talking to Nachiketa, Shreyas cha prayas. Shreya and Preya. These are the two things that present themselves to human being, Manushya. Shreya means that which is good. Preya means that which is pleasant, enjoyable. Most people make decisions based on praise. Oh, this is very nice. It's enjoyable. Let me go for that. Uh, and Shreyas, it might be good, but mostly it is not an easy path. Maybe not pleasant also, but it is good. For example, Shreya is eating a nice rasagulla, a prayer, enjoy. Shreya is having some neem juice. Okay, neem juice is very bitter, but it's good for the body. The discrimination, if somebody offers you both, which one are you going to take? So Shreya, I said, I will take which is good for me, for my body. Prayer, I know I'll take what is enjoyable for me. So, so Daksha is that ability to make those right decisions, a spiritual decision that promotes one's spiritual welfare. You see, all these things mean that one has to be very, very alert about the spiritual ideal of self realization. If that is not there, then all these things become irrelevant. Person are just happy with this world by God's grace. All these things are there, good health, job, money, family, children, name, everything is there. I'm very happy, and therefore that's it. Because that spiritual ideal of liberation, mukti, that is missing. That is that initial spark is not there. But if somebody has nurtured and cultivated that spiritual ideal, that the purpose of life is spiritual realization, and it's not looked upon in a negative way, that is a cessation of misery, and there's too much problem in this world, I don't want to come here, suffering is there. That is a sort of a negative way of. The positive way is, oh my God, I'm the infinite being full of bliss. Why should I settle down for this little happinesses, sense bound happinesses of this world? I'm eternal and immortal. Why should I be trapped in a body that at most is going to live for 80 to 100 years at most? You know, and it's all full of disease and this and that, suffering is there. No, no, no. I don't want to settle for this degraded existence that is a human life relative to the ultimate thing. Yeah, human life is better than plant and animals, but compared to the ultimate reality of being that we are, this is not anywhere close to what that does justice to our truth that we are. In that way, we always keep on raising the bar and trying to struggle to access that. And time is very precious. Before you know, months become years, and before you know, the young child has become an old man, woman. And if we are not mindful, we have spent most of the time in trivial, useless things of the world. The real work for which we are coming again and again, how much progress has been made? If you look back and say, most people would say, not much has happened in that direction. Many people, even in old age or middle age, they begin to at least uh, seek for this knowledge or think about it. Better late than never. But many are there, even in old age, they don't even have the idea of these spiritual ideas we're talking about. But it's a wonderful thing. Whenever it comes, you should grab it by both hands and run with it. So that Daksha is dexterous, and that requires this particular faculty called buddhi, because it's a buddhi that is does the discrimination between right and wrong, good and bad, and all those things. That is to be cultivated, and japa and meditation awakens that power which is potentially there. It's like muscles. If you don't exercise them, they don't become, the strength doesn't become manifested. So, Udasino, who is impartial, who does not side with anybody, friends and others. Udasino is means indifferent or neutral. Okay, everyone is mine. Okay, and it's not that I have to be with this party or that party or vote for this or that person. They're all different players. God is playing all these roles in all these forms. I'm I'm not too much carried about by the external thing, but the internal reality, and in there they are all same. So in this way, uh, because the moment you take a side, then you begin to react to that. And if it happens, so people like win or whatever, then you are happy, and opposite if it's the other way. So to be able to mentally detach, then that mind can be given to the contemplation of the divine. Otherwise, the mind is agitated by all these external things, create so many waves in the mind that the underlying reality that is there gets clouded. And we don't feel that wonderful inner peace because these things constantly disturb us outside. External disturbances are there. Gata Vyatha, who is, Gata means beyond, Vyatha means who is beyond fear. Hmm. Abhaya. Sarvarambha Parityagi. We have discussed about fear in a bit more detail. Fear comes from the sense that you lose something that you have. So, if you don't have any attachment, it was given to you, it will be taken from you. You are not the owner of things, whether it's his body. It's just like, you'll go to a country and you rent a car, you drive it around for a particular purpose. And after, when you're leaving, you drop the car and don't say, this is my car. Likewise, this body is a rental car. Look at it in that way. I'm supposed to use it to reach a particular destination and go from point A to point B, that is directing me towards this goal of liberation, mukti. It is not just cruising around aimlessly in whichever direction type of thing, like people go out when they go on a holiday or something like that. So at the last moment, be ready to give it up and just go. So that is uh, the attitude we should have with things of this world, people, everything. Sarvarambha parityagi. Parityagi, to renounce. What? Every undertaking. That means he who has renounced every undertaking, work undertaken out of desire for the results to be enjoyed here or hereafter, that type of work. One cannot be without action. Physically, we'll have to get up and do things to take care of our physical body, mind, work, and everything, but not to be attached to the results of this work. Whatever comes will come. If it doesn't come, don't worry about it. Don't aim to look for happiness in this world or also to go to heaven and enjoy happiness there. All those desires, whether it's of this world or heaven, are great chains that can bind the soul and and force it to reincarnate. Whether it's an iron chain or golden chain, they are all chains. So the only thing to desire is desirelessness. Holy Mother says, if you have to pray, pray to the divine that let there be no desires in the mind, no worldly desires, only spiritual desires, desire for mukti. Sri Ramakrishna says, desire for devotion is not a harmful desire. That's perfectly all right. Desire for mukti is actually very good. It's only these worldly desires that take the mind out and form the shackles and become the cause to force us to come back to this world again and again and again. So, one who is practicing these things is very dear to the divine, to Lord. He who has no desires, who is pure, who is dexterous, who is impartial, neutral, who is free from fear, who has renounced every selfish undertaking. Do things not for yourself, to others. And that is the way to make ourselves really happy. Swami Vivekananda says, after so much suffering in this world, I have come to realize that in this hell of a world, that's the word he uses, If one can make even a single person bring a joy and a smile to a single person, even for a day, that much alone is true. All else is moonshine. The more we are so much stressed about making ourselves happy, I'm happy, am I happy, am I happy, like that, we become obsessed with that, and that becomes the source of all this, half of this worry, and I'm not happy, I'm not happy. So try to go out and make somebody else happy. The more you can do that, you'll find that your own inner happiness grows. So, okay, we have come to verses up to 16. So there are 20 verses in this chapter. It's one of the shortest chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We'll take this up next week. A lot of ideas are there discussed. One has to reflect in their own life which one to practice, but at least that alertness about, and there are a lot of opportunities in the day to practice them in so many situations and places. Very good.
Swamiji,
Yes.
I have a question. You mentioned in verse 14 about the being a yogi.
Uh-huh.
I mean, is it a prerequisite to have qualities of a yogi to attain these things?
The yogi is a person, here it means person with a concentrated mind. It doesn't mean a yogi who is, living in the mountain, sannyasi or something like that. Okay. Yoga means to join. Okay. The Jivatma with the Paramatma. And all these yogas that are talking, Jnana, Bhakti, Karma, Dhyana, are various means by which the wave is united or integrated with the ocean. And the way that integration happens is with the mind. So one of the conditions is that there's this focus and control over the mind has to be there. Otherwise, all these ideas will not bear any fruit. See?
Yeah, like as soon as our eyes open in the morning, we are thinking about the work and everything else.
Mm.
So sometimes it's hard. It's hard hard to practice these things.
Yes, it's not easy. Otherwise, everyone will be a yogi walking in the street, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay. Eh,
but I mean,
So, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
but I mean, at the moment, the half of the world is not aware of these things.
Hmm.
So I mean, they can't become yogis. But I mean, they are either ignorant or
Yeah,
they try
yeah,
to, yeah.
that is agreed. Sri Krishna in the Gita says, one in 1,000 aspires for these type of things. Okay. So you don't expect a big crowd and everyone around you doing that unless you are in a place where spiritual seekers are there, in a temple or ashrama and like-minded people to support each other type of thing. But if you go out in the general world, oh, it's all about the external world. That is why it's hard, difficult, no doubt what you're saying. But that is the goal. What are you going to do about that? Can we use that as an excuse not to do anything?
Yeah, I mean, especially in a workplace.
Mm,
I mean, where we work now. I
mm.
mean, you find some people who are just ignorant of these things.
Mostly would be ignorant of them.
Mm.
Even those who are senior people, they might be very, very qualified and experienced in whole high positions and things. But when you talk about these spiritual things, you might find hardly anyone around there who is thinking like this. If you find
But
somebody, you're very lucky. Mm?
like they follow up. Like, I mean, we have covered that. I mean, devote everything to God. So what they do is when they come to work, they devote all of the time to work without, I mean, maybe without knowing that they are devoting it to God or whoever, Sri Krishna or Ram. But they just sit there and do the work, and after time they go home. But they're devoting their time to work.
Yes. And the desire is they need an income, they need money. That's why they are there, isn't it? You also will go, but can you still do that work there with that this bigger picture, okay, that this ego that is within me is,
Mhm.
or the consciousness that is in me, who is really working? Are you working or somebody working through you?
Is somebody working through me?
Yeah. So see, that was a problem with Arjuna. He was thinking, I'm going to fight. Then Sri Krishna is saying, no, 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 no. You are an instrument. I'm working through that. So can we bring that even one idea? That in my meditation, I installed my Ishta Devata and reconnected myself, and he is that pure consciousness, and his energy is flowing through my mind, in my thoughts, my body in action, and he's operating through this. I want to do whatever action happens through the body and the senses. I want it to acknowledge that he is the origin. At end of the day, I offer it to him. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. So in the midst of the work, you will not be able to hold this idea. But at least you start the day and you finish the day, and at least reconnect in that much. That much can be done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's how Swami Brahmananji he teaches. Before you start the work, you build that alertness. When you finish the work, you come back to that. In between, the work will take your mind. You have to pay attention to all those type of things. He said, start in that way at least. Slowly, the mind's capacity will develop. Okay.
Yeah. That
Okay.
was Brahma.
Okay. Very good. Let us offer this to Sri Ramakrishna. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.